Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports on this beautiful, beautiful Monday evening. We are so very, very happy to have you with us today. If you just bear with me for one moment, we will be right with you. So stay with me one moment here, and we will go ahead and get everybody going here. You might hear a little noise in the background. So let me go ahead and fix that up real quick. It'll take us 1 second here as we are about 15 minutes away from having the great Ricky Reynolds on. So everybody just bears with me 1 second. All right. Looks like we are about ready here. Yep, there we go. There we go. All right. So I think we got most of this all set up for you. I'm not sure if I have any help sharing this tonight. So if everybody just bears with me a moment, I will have it all taken care of. So I want to thank you all very, very much for joining us today. I hope you like that intro. We will be talking about the Tampa Bay Rays coming up after our Ricky Reynolds talk that we'll have in about 10 minutes. Ricky will be joining us. But, everybody wants to talk, obviously, about the terrific game by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday versus the LA Chargers. And, I thought overall a great, great display by your very own Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I thought they did really, really well. Very, very impressed with the way they came out, the way they came back, the way they won. And, everybody's freaking out. Everybody's freaking out about Tom Brady throwing an interception. It's over. What happens? And then what does he do? Comes back, shuts everybody up, throws 5 beautiful touchdown passes to 5 different receivers. If he ain't the GOAT, nobody is the GOAT. Great, great job by Tom Brady. And once again, for those of you just joining us on several different platforms, if you can go ahead, and we are on at 7 o'clock tonight, so we are on early tonight due to the fact that the Tampa Bay Rays are playing this evening versus the New York Yankees, which we'll talk about. But, I thought it was unbelievable how Tom Brady hit 9 different receivers, included everybody in the game. And when they were down, who got this team back fired up? It was Tom Brady. Tom Brady was the man and proves why he's the man. Now, let's give credit where credit's due. Okay, Tom Brady, 5 touchdown passes. He threw for what? 30 of 46, I think 200, 300 yards, 1 interception. Just a great, great, great display. Ronald Jones, overall, the running game was there. He ran hard. He ran real hard. And, it showed he had 111 rushes on 20 carries for 5.5. That's the beautiful number right there. 5.5 yards per carry. He also caught 6 footballs out of the backfield, but unfortunately, he also dropped 3. So I would give a good, strong game to Ronald Jones, but he's got to catch that ball. And, I'm hearing these radio guys today. Some of them I want to smack in the head. They're talking about, how, this and that, and he's a wonder, he's fine. He ran the ball fine. In order for Ronald Jones to remain the running back on this team, he's going to have to stay two-dimensional. He's got to catch that ball out of the backfield. Keyshawn Vaughn, first appearance yesterday, gets a touchdown. Right away breaks into the offense. Great, great job. Mike Evans, 7 receptions, 122 yards, 1 touchdown, playing hurt. A lot of people talking about that silly penalty he took on sportsmanlike conduct. if you know Mike Evans, that's Mike Evans. And I'm going to tell you something. Mike Evans also took a penalty early in the game for offensive interference. And we talked about this quite a few times on this show, that you could probably call Michael Evans for pass interference on every single play. He is always pushing off the receiver. The thing with Michael Evans is sometimes they'll call it, sometimes they won't. And in this case, they did call it. But, the only thing I would like to see Michael Evans stop doing is every time he drops a football, he thinks there should be a flag on the play. It's like the flag should follow a miss. No, that's not the way it works in the NFL. But overall, a great job on Michael Evans. You're starting to see Michael use that strength and use that body the way it should be used. Unfortunately, O.J. Howard, who had a terrific game and a beautiful touchdown pass, went out of the game. Looks like a ruptured Achilles, so he'll be done for the year. So bad news out of the Tampa Bay area. If you want to talk about some bad news from yesterday, let me just check this real message real quick. As I'm getting a message. But I'm typing that we're ready. All right. So, and then let's not talk about Scotty Miller. What a great relationship Scotty Miller and Tom Brady are building up. We talked about this. It's like Scotty's going to be the new Julian Edelman to Tom Brady. Just a great job there. Now, overall, I thought the defense from a rushing perspective did really good. I thought they held on They held them next to maybe 60 yards, 40 yards, whatever it was in rushing. Nothing that amounted to much. And overall, they played a great game. I thought the front seven played awesome defensively. But, when we're going to blitz that much, we have to do a better job of one-on-one coverage deep. And once again, it looked to me like Bunting was a little confused out there several times yesterday. And it might have just been me. But, it just looked to me like he was confused. And when we get Ricky on in a couple minutes, we're about 3-4 minutes away from having Ricky on. We'll ask him about that. But we got 2 sacks. The passing defense is going to be the big question. Gave up, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns. There was 1 interception by Davis. But we have to be able to play a little bit better on the passing defense side of the football. And, sometimes when you go ahead and you do these all-out blitz, you're relying on one individual now to have that tight coverage, and it's do or die for that defender. And in some cases yesterday, unfortunately, we saw the die part of the coverage. Obviously, the big momentum was definitely with the Josh Kelly fumble that came right before the half, and then Tom Brady was able to go ahead and get a quick touchdown. I'm looking for something to put on here I want to share with you folks real quick. Let's go ahead and see how fired up after the game Coach Bruce Arians was. Let's listen.
We got playmakers. When we play, we're going to be hard to beat. Like we learned in the first half. We don't play, we're going to get our ass beat. But when we play, we're hard to beat. That's a hell of a birthday present. Let's go! Hey, come on, man. Back to work. We got nothing to go get. Thursday. Win on 3, 1, 2, 3. Win!
Coach Bruce Arians. It looks like we have Ricky Reynolds joining us already. Let me see. I think I saw him hiding somewhere here. Let me see if I can find him. Nope, not yet. Okay. I thought we had Ricky with us. Let me check. No, not yet. So while we're waiting for Ricky to come on, he should be on in a second. We'll go ahead and let's go ahead and listen to let me see if I have a little bit of Tom Brady after the game. We'll listen a couple quick minutes while we're waiting for Ricky Reynolds to come on. I know he was trying to get on a second ago. Let's see if we can listen. Nope, that was Justin Herbert. Let's see where we can go ahead and find these. There we go.
Rick Stroud.
At least, but what made this one possible, do you think, for the guys?
Well, it was pretty. We put ourselves in a pretty good hole, and just we're gonna have to dig our way out of it, and that's just the way football works sometimes. And just got to tighten some things up. Glad we came back. Defense made a big play for us for the end of half, and that got us, ignited a little bit. And then we made some plays in the third quarter, made some good plays in the fourth quarter. So started the game well, finished the game well. We just that middle part, we got to figure out how to play 60 minutes well.
Next question will be from Greg Oman.
Hey, Tom, obviously the downfield passing opened up in the second half. It seemed like it was mostly dump-offs there in the first half when you were able to get people. Anything change, or is that something they did defensively that set things up for you in the second half?
Yeah, we got to do a good job, forcing them to cover everything. And, the passing game got a little compressed. And then, we made some plays down the field, and that opened some things up. So it's you got to make them defend everything. And that was just – a good way for us to do some things there in the second half, and we're going to have to keep doing it.
Next question will come from Jenna Lee.
Hey, Tom. I know it seemed like you had trouble on a similar concept to what you had with the double out targeting J. Watt here. It seemed like that was kind of similar to the interception against New Orleans. Is there something about that particular throw? And again, I know it was on the other side of the field and everything. But is there something about that particular throw that's maybe given you and J. Watt more trouble or something that you can do to improve it?
Just execution.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to execute better. That's all it comes down to.
Next question will come from Scott Reynolds.
Tom, can you talk about the day that O.J. Howard was having, catching the touchdown pass from you? And Bruce said that you guys have probably lost him for the year with an Achilles tendon injury. Can you speak to that injury and the impact it has? It's
a tough injury, and I think everyone feels for OJ and what his commitment's been to the team through the off season, training camp. He's just been a great player for us.
All right, that was Tom Brady. We're going to go just a couple seconds away from having Ricky Reynolds on with us. I know that tape was kind of low of Tom Brady. That was a feed we were getting at a $1 place. Well, let's go ahead and welcome in a good friend of Frankly Sports. He's been on before. Always love his input on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's please welcome in former Tampa Bay Buccaneer Ricky Reynolds as he comes on to our show right now. There he is. How you doing tonight, Ricky?
Doing good, Frank. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to have you on. Thank you so very much for coming on this evening. Ricky, we talked earlier before this season started, you and I. We had the pleasure. How does it sound to you going into a Thursday night game number 5, saying the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 3-1?
It's amazing. It's amazing. This is something I think all the fans and everybody in the organization, dreamt of when they brought in Tom Brady, that they would have the chance to be in this position. And lo and behold, we're here, and it seems surreal, it definitely seems surreal that we're in this position.
Yeah, and Ricky, talking about how surreal it is, when we first talked before the season started, you mentioned a terrific point, and I said, Ricky, what's going to be the one thing that this team needs to do in order to be successful with Tom Brady? And you didn't even hesitate, and you said they have to be able to run the ball. Well, yesterday they showed us that they're able to run the ball. I mean, what do you think of Ronald Jones', performance as far as running the ball goes yesterday for the Buccaneers?
Ronald had a great game yesterday. He ran hard. He ran with a lot of force. He was patient, and he did an incredible job. And I was very well pleased with him. And you can just see the maturity and the level that he's accomplished and where he's going. It's taken him a while to get to where he is, but he's definitely has improved from week in and week out, and he's really starting to become the back that everybody believed that he could be.
Yeah, and he wasn't only running, Ricky, he was running hard. I mean, you can see him, instead of falling backwards, you can see him pushing forward, gaining those extra yards. And I want to ask you a question. As someone that played in the NFL, he caught 6 passes out of the backfield yesterday, but he also dropped 3. Is this, in your opinion, a guy that played in the league, is this more of a mental thing with Ronald, or is it more of a physical thing like, oh, I'm worried about getting hit before I catch the ball type thing?
Well, I think it's a combination of the two. I think, a lot of it is mental, but also the physical part is probably more so of him needing more reps of just catching football, using soft hands, just the technique of caressing that ball and bringing it into his body. Probably not so much as far as being hit and things of that nature, because that's part of the game. I'm sure he's been hit quite a bit, and I'm sure that doesn't concern him as much. But it's just him concentrating on the football and watching it into his hands and bringing it in. I seen some of those that he dropped. It seemed like his hands were hard and rigid to where it just like bounced off like it's hitting a rock or a stone or something. And so you have to be able to, soften those hands up and caress the ball in there. And that's just a matter of reps, going out and catching a bunch of balls every day and getting used to doing it.
Now, let me ask you this. We're down 24-7 late in the first half before Josh Kelly had that fumble for the Chargers. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm sitting there, and my wife is sitting next to me watching the game, and I said, we're going to win this game. It felt different. It felt like I knew we had a chance to win this game. And I'm not separating Tom Brady from, Jameis Winston or whatever, but there was a feeling that it was going to be different. And then you see, Brady, the leadership, him on the sidelines, encouraging everybody. And then we get the 7 points. And I just knew from that time. Were you confident when we went down 24-7 that we could come back?
No, I wasn't. To be honest with you, they just weren't playing well. They didn't come out, with that tenacity that you would hope they would come out with. It just seemed like they were kind of in a funk for a little bit. But like you said, once they kind of they kind of got that and scored that touchdown there right before the half. That was a turnaround. That was a turnaround. Then they came out the second half and was able to stop, the Chargers initially on their opening drive. And then they offensively took the ball down and scored, and that was it after that. Then they had the confidence, and they just got the momentum rolling. And with Tom Brady at the helm, you're never out of the game. Just his passion and desire and will to win just carries on throughout the whole team. He just has a belief, and I just believe that what he has inside of him, it just goes out throughout. I don't care what team he's on. It carries over.
Yeah, and the amazing thing about Tom Brady is, listen to this. Not only does he go 30 for 46, over 300 yards, 5 touchdown passes, but he hit 5 different receivers for a touchdown and 9 different receivers throughout the entire game. When you're on the defensive side of the ball, How much more difficult does it become when you know the opposing quarterback is hitting every single target that is out there on the field?
It makes it very difficult, because you don't know when your number is going to be called, and you have to be ready at all times. If you're playing a particular team and they have one or two receivers that they're going to go to in certain situations when it's third down, they're going to throw it to Edelman, they're going to throw it to certain guys. You can log in on those guys and try to prevent a play from happening. But when you have a team like this where it can go to any receiver that's on the field, that's dangerous. That's dangerous territory. And so all one of those defensive guys that are out there playing are vulnerable to having that ball come his way and them having to make a play, because every one of those guys can make plays out there. And it's awesome. It's really awesome to see.
So what has been your overall perspective on the offensive line so far this year? There's been a lot of talk before the season about how is, the line going to do. We got Tristan Wirth, obviously, who is new, who I think is doing an exceptional job. I think after first game, couple of blunders, I think, everyone's quiet about Donovan Smith all of a sudden. To me, I think the last 3 games, you're going to get beat sometimes, but overall, they've been protecting Brady very, very well. What is your perspective on that?
Yeah, I think they've gotten better every week. I think they started out a little slowly, but they've improved, and they're definitely giving them time to sit in the pocket and throw the football. Of course, you have your moments. I mean, it's the National Football League. Guys are going to get beat, and the quarterback's going to get hit. But these guys, the last 2 weeks have been pretty solid. Their run blocking is much better, much improved. Like you said, they're giving Brady a pocket to sit in and throw the ball downfield, and that's going to go a long way, especially when you have Tom Brady back there. If you give him time, he's going to complete passes.
And I want to talk to you about the defense for a minute. I know the side of the ball that you love. When we talk about the defense, I mean, Todd Bowles has been very, very, very aggressive, calling a bunch of different blitz packages. And, sometimes they seem to work. And then sometimes we get beat with the deep pass because we have so many individuals rushing that we're not playing tight enough defense on those guys that are going deep. For all our listeners out there, explain what happens when you start releasing extra people on the line and how much extra coverage has to be out there for these guys that are going out for passes.
Well, first of all, when you're playing in those pressure situations and you're doing a lot of blitzing, the secondary is vulnerable, especially when there's zero coverage, meaning there's no safety in the middle of the field, and right. The receivers have a two-way go. It makes it very tough on coverage, because it's just, you have to take away the inside, because if the guy crosses your face and gets into the middle of the field, you're in trouble. So you're vulnerable at those times, but you're relying on that rush, to get there,
Right.
And if the rush doesn't get there, it could be trouble, and that's why, when you blitz, you're always taking a chance, because big plays happen, sometimes during blitzing situations. And so either you make a big play, or sometimes you give up a big play. And it's just because of, the situation and what was happening during the course of the game. I believe that San Diego kind of, or not San Diego, but
right. I've done it all day.
I know the Chargers, prepared by kind of max protecting a little bit, keeping some extra guys in to block, to be able to pick up some of those extra blitzers, and that allowed quarterback time to sit back there and to be able to throw the ball down the field. And so they're going to have to kind of reevaluate some of that stuff, and to see what they want to do in those situations. Because if you give a quarterback enough time in those situations when you have zero coverage, I mean, it's almost impossible to cover these receivers down the field in those situations.
Yeah, and that was my thought process was too. It's do or die on the blitz. You get it or uh-ohs, you know. And but let me ask you something about the game. Hear a lot of people mumbling about it. It seems like today's game, and I'm talking about just so far, let's talk 2020, is becoming a more offensive style game. It seems like, is it that these offenses are much better than the defenses, or is it just that, you know, people are concentrating more on the offense? It just seems like more points are being scored and it's more up and down the field. I mean, we saw a 38-31 game, you know, yesterday right in our own backyard. I mean, what do you think's the reason for all these high scoring games?
Well, I mean, they kind of they're setting up the rules a little more to help the offense because
Right.
fans like to see scoring, and they enjoy a game like we saw yesterday. Where the score is kind of high and it's pretty intense, and you know you don't know who's gonna have the ball at the end to finish the game with a score. So they fix it to where they maybe penalize the defenses a little more often, with the bumping of the receivers and what they're doing up front as far as allowing the offensive line to get away with certain things and things of that nature. So they make it a little tougher on the defense to be able to make plays and what they can do, back there in the defensive backfield and up front in order to make plays to and shutting down some of these offenses and the offenses are getting a lot more creative in what they're doing, and with the addition of the the versatile quarterback, the athletic quarterbacks make it a lot tougher as well. If you have a guy like Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning type that likes to just sit in the pocket, they're a lot easier, believe it or not, to defend than Lamar, Jackson, some of these other guys that get out of the pocket, and Mahomes and these guys that are running and making plays with their feet. Because once they do that, it's really tough to cover receivers down the field. And we have a lot of athletic quarterbacks in this league nowadays. And Joe Burrows has come in, and Herbert. Yesterday, he's athletic. A lot of these guys can really move in the pocket and give themselves extra time to make plays down the field.
What was your impression of Justin Herbert yesterday?
I was very impressed. I'm this guy has a very strong arm. He's pretty accurate. I was impressed, and if I'm them, I don't change. I keep him, at quarterback and allow him to continue to grow and prosper. He is definitely the future, and he's going to be a superstar here in the future. I mean, he played very well. What was it, like 3 weeks in a row or something like that? He's
Yeah, over
passed over like
300. Yeah.
300
Yeah.
yards or so, but he amazed me. He's a solid quarterback and he has a bright future.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So let me ask you this. You got to see Mike Evans play again yesterday, and, great game again. He was hurt, hung in there, played well for us. But I have to ask you this as a defender. Does he pass interfere on every play? Because, this is what I told someone. Let me give you my perspective. They call it half the times on him, and they don't call it the other half. But he keeps his game going. He does the same thing. And it's like, hey, if they call it on me, they'll call it 1 out of 5 times on me, and then the other 4 times I'll be fine.
Well, I think he does a lot. He does a lot. He does a lot of pushing off. He's a physical type receiver, and what he does is just he gets himself room to make the play, and a lot of receivers do it as well. but it's the way that you do it. Sometimes he gets caught, he'll push, where he extends his arms out, and that's what really gets him in trouble. But if he just gives him a little chicken wing, just kind of flip him like that, then it doesn't show as bad. And he can get away with, some little things here and there. But yeah, he gets away with a lot, and he's one that's very physical down the field, and you can almost count on him to have a pass interference penalty almost every week.
Yeah, I agree. Now, we talked about the depth at tight end, and obviously now that depth is going to come into play with the injury to OJ Howard, the ruptured Achilles. They're saying he's out for the rest of the year. I mean, how big of a loss is that for the Bucs? And do you think with Brate and with Gronkowski, they'll be all right?
Yeah, it's definitely a loss. I mean, he was just coming on.
Yeah.
He was really starting to connect with Brady, and really starting to build a lot of confidence in himself, and they were really starting to learn how to use him in the right manner, because this guy he can stretch the field and make plays, down the field. And so they're definitely losing a great talent. I think we'll be okay though. Cameron Brate can step in and fulfill some of those spots where I think he can make plays down the field, as well as Gronk. Gronk has definitely lost a step or so. He doesn't get that separation like he used to, back in the day. But if you throw it up to him like he did yesterday, he'll go get the ball now. He'll go and make a play, and he still has it. And I think we'll be fine. Howard to go and get healed up, and hopefully we'll re-sign him, get him back on here. And but he's a heck of a player. But I think we'll be all right.
Now, Bruce Arians came out after the game and made the comment that said, if this was last year, which I hate when coaches do that, but he did it and said, we would have never won this game that we won today. In your opinion, not only how big is it, obviously it's big for them to come back and win, but how big is it for the future of these guys who are not used to necessarily coming back in games, when they're down by 20, 21 points, and to win the game? How big is this for the future games coming up?
Oh, that's huge. To know that no matter what happens, no matter where you are in the course of a game, that we always have a chance to win. You don't have any letdown. You still have fight. You're still going to dig. You're still going to battle, no matter what the score is. And that's going to be the difference in, previous years to now. You had an attitude of last year where if you fell behind, then all of a sudden, it's like, oh man, we're out of it. That's it. These guys have taken the lead, and we're gonna keep playing, but it's just a different attitude. But now it's you just got to make that play. Come on, somebody got to step up, make a play. And they're counting on somebody to make a play, and everybody's believing that they can make that play. And just good things happen when you believe.
And Ricky, yesterday I'm watching the game, I'm listening, I'm seeing Twitter light up in the first half. All the negative Buck fans are coming out. They come out, I think, more when we're losing than when we're winning. But they're coming out. Brady threw a pick six. Oh no, here we go again. Brady this, Brady that. He's lost his step. I'm going to tell you what. If he didn't make, not that he's out there to make a believer of anyone, but if people could not see from that point on in that game yesterday how pinpoint accurate this guy was with his passes, they're never going to be satisfied.
Yeah, I agree. Especially in that second half, that's the Brady that we know, that we've seen, playing those 20 years over there in New England. He turned on a switch, that competitor switch, where he did not want to lose that game. And he pulled out, everything he had to just keep battling and keep fighting and making plays to help help this team win. And like you said, once that switch clicked on, he was hitting everything, especially those balls down the field, to those targets to make those big plays. He was putting it right on the money, and that's the competitor that we brought here is Tom Brady, and he still got it. He still has it.
Yes, he does. Is Scotty Miller the new Tom Brady's Julian Edelman?
It's starting to look like it. I think he's going to be somebody that he'll lean on, and somebody that can eventually be a guy that makes some plays in clutch moments. Mike Evans obviously is the number one guy, because I mean, for him to play through what he did yesterday was flat out amazing. He did an awesome job. But Scotty Miller definitely is a guy that opponents will not think of, that will be making plays like that and lose sight of, especially once Godwin comes back. And he'll be the one that, out of nowhere, that'll end up, with 5 receptions, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns,
Right. Now, how tough? I don't know if they played Thursday night games back, in the 90s. I think that was after 2000 they started. But I'm sure you can imagine, as someone who played the game, how tough is it for these guys to play Sunday? Usually, I believe Monday is what? A day off, or Tuesday's films, or whatever. But now you got everything compressed basically into 3 days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're on a flight going to Chicago to play the Bears. How difficult is that turnaround?
Now, when I played, Mondays you come in, you watch the game tape, lift some weights, try to get some soreness out a little bit, go home. Tuesday was your off day, and Wednesday you would come in your first session of practice to prepare for the week. I could not imagine playing on a Thursday, because my body would be still sore at that point after a Sunday game. You get beat up, like I said, you go and you have that day off on Tuesday. You come back in Wednesday, you're still hurting. You're still hurting. And usually my body starts feeling good on Saturday. Because usually, you kind of work it out Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, you have a light practice or whatever. Saturday, you're ready to go. But I could not imagine playing a game on Thursday night.
And not only are they playing a game, they got to travel as well to the game. Thank goodness we're only in October, so maybe the weather will be on their side up in Chicago rather than them having to do this in December. But, I can only imagine, a guy like Mike Evans, who was hobbling the whole day, how the heck is he supposed to get better for a Thursday night game? It just seems almost you're asking for the impossible.
Yeah, it's tough, and I know that they really won't do any practicing. Like, it's going to be mostly all walkthroughs, because they have to get these guys to recover. The only good thing is that the other team is in the same situation. So both teams, are playing at the same time, where they have to recover from a Sunday game. So nobody's at an advantage other than the home team, who doesn't have to travel.
Right.
But it's tough, man. I like I said, I couldn't imagine playing on Thursday night.
Now, going into Chicago, what are you looking for in this game on Thursday night? The Bucs coming off a win, Chicago coming off their first loss. What type of game do you think this is going to be for the Bucs?
Well, what we want to see is if they can be consistent. If they can continue to play on a high level. And I hate for it to be on a Thursday, because it's hard to play on a Thursday. A lot of times you'll see Thursday night games, and both teams will make a lot of mistakes and kind of struggle a little bit. And a lot has to do with, just because of the short week and, game planning and the way they feel, but I like to see them come out and kind of be a little consistent with the level of play that they have shown over the last couple of weeks, where these guys have been getting better. They're starting to run the ball better. Their timing is getting better. So I just want to see that consistency. I want to see the defense to continue to get after opponents and turn the ball over and play on that high level that we've watched these guys play these last couple of weeks.
And we talked about Ronald Jones earlier, Ricky. That could have been the game. When we look back on the season, when did Ronald Jones finally get started? It could have been yesterday's game. That gets him over that hump because, you got McCoy that's hurt right now. I would assume, and I just say assume, Fournette won't be playing this weekend. So it's going to be Ronald Jones, and I like this kid, Vaughn. He played for Vanderbilt. Anytime somebody rushes in the SEC for over 1,000 yards a year, they have to be decent in that tough SEC. And I think he looked good, catching the ball. He only caught 2 passes, but he didn't look uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. First of all, with Ronald Jones, I think, this is a game that he could probably lay his hat on and say, this is the level I got to keep it at, where I have to play week in and week out and come out and, play on this level every time out. And Keyshawn Vaughn is the guy that he showed me something. I was surprised at the burst of speed that he had, the quickness. Of course, he has fresh legs because he hasn't been out there, but he definitely showed me something. He showed me his heart, where he wanted to get in that end zone. He put his head down and went for that, and got in the end zone. So he showed me something, and I was very impressed. And I look forward to seeing him some more to see if he can take it to another level. And if he can play on that level week in and week out, you might not have to have a Shady McCoy or some of these guys in there as often. You keep this young guy around and allow him to continue to improve, and he'll be the future.
And before we let you go, Ricky, from the defensive side of the ball, obviously, I'm assuming Nick Foles is still going to start for the Bears. Do you see us playing the same style, throwing those blitz at Nick and, mixing it up on the defensive side like we did versus Herbert in this game?
Frank, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Whoops.
No,
you lost.
I'm having a hard time hearing you at the moment.
All right, can you hear me now?
Go ahead. I can hear you a little bit.
I got to remember my question now. I was asking you, Ricky, about the defensive packages we throw at Nick Foles. Do you think it will be similar to what we threw at Herbert?
I'm sorry. I can't. For some reason, I can't hear you at all.
All right. I'm not sure what happened with the connection. Anyway, I'll wave goodbye to you.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but all right. Thanks a lot. All right. Thanks, Frank. Okay.
All right. Have a good one. That was the great Ricky Reynolds. Hopefully everybody else can hear. Once in a while, sometimes people's yep, we're looking good here. So I see my voice being heard here. But that was Ricky Reynolds. And Ricky said it great. I mean, when you go ahead and you play that blitz package that he plays, you're going to have those times when, we go ahead and blitz people. It's going to happen that sometimes when you blitz, you're going to get beaten. The idea of a blitz is to get the quarterback. I don't think that's anything surprising to any of our listeners right now out there. When you go ahead and you blitz, it's get that quarterback. If you don't, like Ricky said, it's uh-ohs, what happened? And, that's what happened in a couple of cases. A lot of people are saying, well, Bunting got beat, Davis got beat. Davis played a great game yesterday with his one-on-one matchup throughout the game. But it's not that they got beat. It's that the blitz did not get to Herbert fast enough, and he was able to release the football before he was supposed to. So, it's just understanding the game a little bit, especially on the defensive side of the football. They played a great, great game. Now, when we come back, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. And, they play tonight at 8:07 is the first pitch. So in our last 10 minutes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the Rays. But let's take a quick break from our sponsor, Rent-A-King.
Welcome to Rent King Sales and Lease Purchase. Rent King has quickly grown to become Florida's most popular choice for new furniture, appliances, computers, game systems, and consumer electronics. Our locally owned and operated business offers a selection of more than 10,000 name brand products through our flexible lease ownership plan. There's never a credit check at Rent King. You get instant approval, free same-day delivery, free product repairs, and you can purchase your leased products at any time using our exclusive Try It and Buy It 90 days same as cash plan or our king size early purchase discount. You'll always receive the highest level of service, the largest selection of brand name products, and the guaranteed lowest prices in town at Rent King Sales and Lease Purchase.
All right, welcome back to Frankly Speaking Sports. Hope everybody's having a great day. That was Rent King. For all your great rental needs, you want to go to Rent King, 609 West Brandon Boulevard in Brandon, Florida. That's where I go, and I'll tell you what, they are great. Go in there, great service all the way around. Now, for those of you Tampa Bay Rays fan, tonight's the night. That's right. We are in for tonight. Your Tampa Bay Rays are actually 8-2 this year. That's right, 8-2 this year versus the New York Yankees. But it's a new season now. This is playoff time. So let's go ahead and remember that. When you look at these teams and you look at these offenses, the Yankees are healthy again. They are healthy. I mean, they got Lemieux, who was I believe his name's Lemieux, DJ Lemieux. I never pronounce his name right, but this guy has been unbelievable for the Yankees the last 2 years. They got him for nothing. They got Stanton back. I mean, everybody in this order can hit the ball. I mean, Urshela, Stanton, Voigt, Hicks, Adam Judge. They got Frazier back. I'm not familiar with their catcher, Higashioka. I'm not real familiar with him. But they got a good team. I think where the Rays tend to have the advantage here will be on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, they got great pitching, the Rays. I mean, you cannot, come up with better pitching than Snell, Glasnow, Morton. And then you got Yarbrough back. And now you got G-Man Choi back. You got, Meadows back. Yandy Diaz back. This team is ready. Diaz, Lau, Arozarena is unbelievable. This pickup from St. Louis has 7 homers in a short period of time with the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's not forget Manuel Margot, the guy who was picked up, was supposed to be this defensive whiz, and he is, but now he's hitting the ball, and now he's stealing bases. 12 stolen bases in, the amount of time in this short season. Just unbelievable. Everybody knows about Joey Wendell, and you got to remember, these teams do not like each other. Everybody remembers Chapman throwing at Mike Brasseux's head with the 101-mile-per-hour fastball, and then the next night Brasseux comes up and hits 2 home runs and shuts everybody up. But, this is going to be a tough series. You're going to see tempers flare. They do not like each other. And remember, this all started with throwing inside at Joey Wendell. I think Wendell was hit by like 4 pitches throughout a certain numbers of games. So just some unbelievable storylines here. Let's take a look and let's see if I can go ahead and get the pitching matchups for today. It looks like here's Blake Snell. Snell in 2020 was 4-2 with a 3.24 ERA. I think it says 43 strikeouts in about 50 inning pitches. Let's see, that might be 63. It's hard to see, but just an incredible left-handed pitcher. And let's not forget who I'll go through. Jared Cole, who they got to last time they did play, but he did own them in the playoffs last year. 7-3 for Cole, 2.84. Just an unbelievable right-handed stud, Jared Cole. But the question happens: what happens after Cole? Okay, where the Rays after Snell, they have Glass now. They got Morton. You don't know about Tanaka. There's a lot of questions with Happ. There's just so many questions on this pitching staff that I'm not confident that the Yankees can hold their own if the game comes down to pitching. If the game comes down, they say these games are won by pitching and great defense. Well, it's not going to be no different. I mean, it's nice to see Stanton finally back if you're a Yankee fan. I can't tell you who'll make it through the whole series. And I don't wish that on anyone, but he's not a very, very healthy guy. Aaron Boone's done a terrific job, just like Kevin Cash has done with the Tampa Bay Rays. Kevin Cash has done. But Kevin Cash, when it comes to mixing things up and working his bullpen, is just a pure genius. Just a pure genius when it comes to that. Now, this is a best 3 out of 5 series. In a 3 out of 5 series, it comes down to pitching, but it's a little bit even more so this series because you're playing all 5 games in 5 days. Okay? Never before has that happened where you play 5 straight games in a series, which we could argue about it, and it's being played at the same place in San Diego. So there will be no time off. You will not get to rest your bullpen. You will not be able to have an extra day of rest for your starter. So, when it comes down to having this Yarbrough kid, the only thing that surprised me about the Tampa Bay Rays is this kid, Josh Fleming, was tremendous during the year. Tremendous. And I cannot understand, why they didn't put him on this roster. And, obviously, Kevin has a good reason. And I'm sure Kyle Snyder was in that decision as well. But, I don't understand the move. And, but, then again, we do have Meadows back. We do have Choi back. We do have Diaz back. So you had to make the necessary moves. This team is good. Don't think the Rays can't hit the long ball as well. We talked about everybody from Hicks to Stanton to Judge to Urshela to Sanchez, you name it, on the Yankees being able to hit the long ball. Well, when you look at the Rays, you got Diaz. Diaz went off last year in the playoffs. Everybody knows about Brandon Lau. Rosarina has I don't know where the power's come from. He has 7 already. Choi can hit it out. Margot can hit it out. I mean, you got Willie Adames. I think the key player this series, and, some people might laugh at me, but the key player for the Rays this series is going to be how good offensively can Mike Zunino do behind the plate. I mean, he has the ability and is a terrific defensive catcher, but if he can add a couple of jacks out of the box for the Rays, what a pleasant surprise that is going to be. I mean, Kiermaier has been pretty darn consistent for the most part, throughout the year. But this is a good, scrappy young team. And one of the things that Kevin Cash has got this team doing towards the second half of the season, and I complained the whole first half because he wasn't doing it, he's got them playing old-style baseball. He's got them hitting and running. He's got them stealing bases. He's got them bunting people over. He's playing the game of baseball, holy crap, like the game of baseball. And that's the way the game should be. And if he continues to play that style of baseball, this team in Tampa Bay is going to follow suit of their hockey team and win their world champion because they have the players to do so. So, I'm not saying it's going to be a sweep by any means. And when you play the Yankees, you can't expect that. But this team is better than the Yankees. And some people will argue, well, come on, Larry. What are you, on drugs or something? Their whole team was hurt during the year. The Yankees had injuries. Come on, wake up, New York fans. This entire Tampa Bay Rays pitching staff was gone throughout the year. They had 11 pitchers at one time, quality starting and relief pitchers on the injured list at one time, and still came through with flying colors. That's because they bared down and they had young guys like Curtis and Fleming coming out of nowhere. Now they got McCallahan, who's going to finally get a chance, the young man from this area, to pitch, hopefully in the playoffs. This team has depth, and there is nobody, not one team anybody else can mention that has as much depth as this Tampa Bay Rays team going into these divisional series. They will win. They will win. They will win. And, I can hear it now. We'll find every excuse the Yankee fans will find to find out why the Yankees didn't win. But this team right now at this time is much better than the New York Yankees when you talk about an all-around team. Now, the Yankees may have a couple more power hitters, but remember, power hitters only succeed about 25% of the time they're at bats. And that doesn't mean 25% of the time they hit home runs. So it should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, remind you tomorrow night, we have our Bullseye show on Frankly Speaking Sports. That's our USF show. Oh, baby, is that an incredible show? If you never had the opportunity to watch it, if you're a USF fan or have friends that are USF fans, you gotta join the club. It's incredible. Tomorrow night, listen to this lineup. Tomorrow night, beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, me and my great host, Bradley Lewis Walker, will be joined live first by Santiago Gramatica, the former kicker of the USF Bulls. Then, immediately following him, how about Elgin Hicks, the amazing wide receiver and former USF Bull? Oh, baby, what a show we got for you tomorrow night on Frankly Speaking Sports. To everyone, have a good night and go Rays!